I don't know what the hell. I don't have any. That was the thing, but what the hell? That's who we are here. We're the thing, and we're sloppy. But hey, we're on a special Sunday night Clobberin Times movie review special, folks. And we're gonna get our asses spoilered off tonight, whether we like it or not. But before I get started, again, I'm gonna put the word out a little bit more because this is not a usual time slot for us. So I guess I've been plugging it, but I don't know if all our regulars know. And of course, there are a lot of people that might be out doing Christmassy stuff and even going to see the movie right now. But we're gonna spoiler it anyway. But first, I want to welcome my great chief engineer, the extraordinary Mark D with a C.
Hey guys, how's it going?
There we go.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate you so much. And we have, of course, with us friends of a wonderful channel on YouTube. You should all check out if you have not yet. I discovered these gents a good while back, and they do great stuff. And I've had a lot of fun hanging out with them on some shows on my channel, and I think it was over there once, was I not, Mom? I believe.
Couple of times, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times now.
Indeed. Well, that's Mr. J-Man and Mr. Sean. Buddies, thank you for being here with us tonight, man.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Man, I'm looking forward to this because we are going to review a new movie that is made. I think it's almost around the 600 million mark worldwide. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track.
Yeah, last time I saw it was 250 or something, and then it's like it's crazy.
Worldwide, I could have swore I saw something a little earlier about the 580 something crazy or something like that. I think Az posted something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So wow,
it's doing well.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it
much
might
better
make
than
a few bucks.
or turtles.
Yeah, I mean, I put up the word again. We're live. I guess that's word enough, isn't it? But yes, it's gonna probably make a few more pennies. I'm gonna go way out on a limb.
Yeah.
The power of nostalgia.
Yeah, just a couple of bucks. I mean, I remember after I saw it the other day, I said to my friend that I went with, I said, this is gonna easily crush $1 billion. And because of what has been going on with film in general, I think of late, you never know. This thing might go to number 1, might top Endgame. I'm not saying it will, but Jesus God, dude, 600 million already?
Yeah, worldwide 587, but yeah, what's 13 million among friends? So whatever, yeah.
Okay, almost 600.
Yeah, but I'm sure that who knows if these numbers I'm looking at, it's all estimated. But yeah, it's a huge smash hit. So it just shows you how terrible, Eternals was, or Eternals.
Right.
And,
yes.
Mediocre. I like Shang-Chi a little bit. So I'm not going to say I didn't like it.
I like Shang-Chi.
But I mean, it wasn't. But it doesn't have the same draw as Spidey. So, but it's not. It wasn't Shang-Chi, the character from the comics.
It wasn't the Shang-Chi
we don't want
character, no. But
yeah.
Oh, you mean Mistress of Kung Fu? Oh no.
I like
but
anyway.
Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
We're going to do a Shang-Chi street.
Yes, we did that already. I want to say hello to my wonderful first officer, Raquel. You should not have. Thank you so much for your lovely super chat, my dear. I love you. Hope you're doing well. She said, decided to see it, so I can't stay. Spoilers, but I'm here to clobber the thumbs up and send my love to one and all. Have a great show, gentlemen. Now, here's the problem. I tried to tell you, don't see it on my recommendation. This is all on Mr. Chief Engineer Smarty Pants Mark.
Yep.
If you end up not liking it, I refuse any responsibility. With great power comes no responsibility.
That's not how it goes. I don't think it goes that way.
You sure? Ask Dr. Strange.
Well,
but anyway, no. I hope you enjoy it. But if you don't, well, you know who to take it up with.
Yep. Blame it on me. Yeah.
In all seriousness, what I mean by that, basically, Jay, is Sean, is I've never been the kind. It's just always such a double-edged sword when you recommend, or even when you go in the opposite spectrum, tell people not to watch anything. Right. I don't do that anymore. It's a zero-sum game. I always say, well, I really liked so-and-so, and maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I say, watch it for yourself. So, and then when they say, should I watch this? That's the way I handle it. And it's the other way. I think that's the worst piece of crap ever, but hey, you watch it, you might like it. I don't know. Just the way I do it.
I'm like totally reverse. I force people. I'm like,
Don't.
did you watch it yet? And I'll call them and email them every day and text them. Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? When are you gonna watch it? When are you gonna go? Let me know when you see it.
You are a super villain, sir.
I am a villain.
Yes, you just like trouble.
I do. Sean, we do like to fight a little bit. I was hoping Sean and I would fight over this movie, but we didn't. So I'm
there are plenty of movies in your future to fight over.
We will.
And in the past, I'll wager. Let's see. Before we get started, everyone. Again, I don't know what the hell's wrong with this StreamYards. Good Lord, it was so slow on me there. Let me say some hellos to some friends who are with us, and then we will do some show notes and get out of here. In other words, get started. Minimus is here. He says he needs spoilage. That'll happen. We will have plenty of spoilers. We'll give a big alert first. The great master of we have two Canadians on with us and wonderful Canadians in the chat. So this is my wonderful first officer and the great Chris Persia. What's up, buddy? The master of all that is Canadian wrenchness. Mr. Gasmask Animations, son of the great Mark C. Good to see you, little buddy. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Oliver Billamonte. Hello there, my friend. It's good to see you. Show notes. Tomorrow night, on Monday night, Mark C Comics Talk. I will have the great Stone Loki hanging out with me. It's going to call this one Christmas with the Superheroes. We're going to review some, as we do once a month, some Superman, Batman / related animation, but this time we're going to make it Christmassy. We're going to review from Batman animated series, Christmas with the Joker, from Justice League, Comfort and Joy, from Batman, Brave and the Bold, Invasion of the Secret Santas, and then from Justice League Action, Party Animal. So we're going to review some superhero Christmas animation fun. So 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless I make it an hour earlier to accommodate Loki, but I'm looking at the regular time for that. So anyway, gentlemen, question mark? Sorry, quoting Groucho. We all went to see a movie. Oh, there's Oliver. What did he say here? Oliver, what's that? Man, this thing is messed up. Who should get the credit for the spectacular money gross of Spider-Man No Way Home? Marvel or Sony? Me.
Me. Which one of us? Yes.
Keely Chow. Which one of us you mean? Yeah, no. Well, they're both involved with it, even though most of it's done by Sony. But I mean, Sony marketed it. Sony spent most of the money on it, so give them the credit. Anything to take some things away from Marvel Studios, I'm for.
Yeah, I would say Sony.
Sony, because it's their legacy they're really touting here. So
correct. Yeah, this is not an MCU tribute as much as it is a Sony Spider-Man film tribute, like previous film tributes.
Yeah, celebration. Yeah.
Well, considering how bad the Amazing Spider-Man 1-2 were, I mean, we did get. I thought, I guess we're getting into spoilers now, but no surprise.
In a minute. In a second.
Yeah, but no surprise really on who returned. But even with those bad movies, there was some great moments with that amazing Spider-Man, despite his horrible or not subpar movies to be kind.
Yeah, with their track record of studio interference with like Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, this on paper sounded like a mess to begin with.
Yeah,
like getting all these, and I was like, there's no way they're going to pull it off. They haven't been able to do it in the past, and to do it with such grace and in a measured approach, like compared to what I thought it was going to be, it's pretty coherent. It's not an incomprehensible mess, which I thought it was going to be. So,
I think a lot of us probably thought that. I mean, I certainly did not expect the excitement that we're seeing. I expected, I don't know what exactly I expected. I expected it to at least, at the very minimum, be something that people go, oh, that was pretty good. It's nice to have something decent for a change. But this is just exploded. Keely Chow, Roll Tide, my friend. Good to see you there. And by the way, before we get started, everyone, please, there is a link in my description below here to J-Man's great channel. Please go and subscribe to that. And, of course, to Mark D with a C's channel. Are we geeking? Are we geekering tonight? Later?
Yes, we are. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm at 179 subs. So who wants to be the lucky 180, right?
Go for it. Well, we have fun on Sunday Night Geekery. I know you gentlemen are always, are bed by that point. But if you're always, I'm inviting you on Mark's show just to.
Yeah, you can come on. So yeah, we can just keep going the whole night if we run out of time here, right?
Well, okay. let's go after it, fellas.
Well, I think Sean and I like to present a lot of arguments, and then you can mull them over, and then you can address them.
Don't ruin the movie for me.
No. That's not going to happen today. I don't think.
No, he
That's
blames
not
me for. He is before Sean. He also has blamed me for ruining movies for him.
Yeah.
Sean only ruined one more before him. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be able to ruin this one for everybody. Spider-Man: Homecoming, folks. Here we're going to do our spoiler countdown. Boom, boom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and instead of saying 1, I tell you what, we'll say this will be our trigger for spoiler alert. Here we go.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
You got to work.
Yeah, my StreamYards is screwed. So I guess I will go around the horn and start with our guests because I don't exactly know your opinion. We'll do a basic one. We're going to start out with it. Did you overall have a good time? Did you like it or not? Did you think it was the worst piece of filth you've ever seen? Or I mean, are you so angry right now that you hated it so much that you're never going to a movie again? that you like lit garbage cans on fire at the theater, or you thought it was kind of okay? We'll start with J-Man. What did you think?
Guys, man, I loved it. I thought it was going to be trash. I was like telling people at my office were coming out to be asking me about this Spider-Man movie. I was like, no, it's gonna be awful. And I gave them like 5-6 points why it's gonna be awful. And like the spell doesn't make sense. Why is Doctor Strange accepting differences to the spell while he's casting it? Like, wouldn't he explain this to Peter? Why is Wong telling him not to cast the spell? Isn't he the Sorcerer Supreme? Like that, which wasn't in the movie. But I was telling everybody it's gonna be trash, and people were literally staying away from me. They're saying, "Don't talk to Jay because he's gonna de-hype you for this movie." And this one guy was like, "My hype level was 9, and you brought me down to a 6." I'm like, "No, please go see it."
You did the guy a favor.
So I don't know, guys. I loved it. There's some story things which we'll get into that were a bit wonky. I didn't like that. There's a lot of night photography. Everything was at night, and my theater and Sean and I saw it together. For some reason, our IMAX, it just seemed darker, and we didn't see it in 3D. It just seemed darker, so that kind of I nicked some points off. But other than that, I just thought it was awesome. I don't know if you want me to get into details, which I guess we can get into after. But yeah, a quick thing. I loved it. I don't know. I thought it was so. It's not as good as Spider-Man 1 or 2 of the Sam Raimi series, but I would probably say it's my third favorite of the live action Spider-Man's. I'm disappointed no Nicholas Hammond. I literally was waiting.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
I love. I was like, maybe he'll be Ben, because I don't think we ever saw Tom Holland's Ben or something. I was like thinking maybe it'll be like a quick flash and we kind of see Nicholas Hammond. I was like dying to see him, but he wasn't in it. So other than that, I mean, I loved it.
Or Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
He was in it. They cut it out though. The added scenes. So Sean, what did you think?
Overall, I thought it was enjoyable. I think before I saw the movie, I came to an epiphany that this movie is not made for me. I don't think it's really made for anyone on this panel, no offense, but I think it's made for people who grew up on the movies, and really I didn't grow up on them. I waited my whole childhood and teenhood for Spider-Man movies, and because of legal wrangling, I never got them. It came out, I think the first one came out in 2002, and but by that point I was working for a corporation and had deadlines and was firmly implanted into the adult working world, and don't really have like nice nostalgic wistful thoughts of Spider-Man and toys at Christmas and stuff like that. I think a lot of the hype right now is fueled by people who are in their 20s or their teens, maybe even approaching 30, who see the Spider-Man movies the same way we probably see the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Yeah. So I thought, in terms of a celebration of the Sony pictures and somewhat plussing and fixing things retroactively, and providing fun moments and letting moments breathe, I thought this was a very enjoyable movie. So that's my take right now.
Mark, as you were telling me in the green room back before, how you hated this movie so much, you actually ran your car into a couple of innocent bystanders when you were on the way out. You threw a couple of Molotovs. Oh no, totally different movie. I'm sorry. What was your take on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, I threw out all my my
Threw out all your
ornaments.
Spider-Man toys. You
Yeah,
were
I
so
threw out all my
pissed off.
Spider-Man stuff. So even though I know a lot of people hate this version of the armor, and I do
I do.
kind of not like
Yeah.
it, this is an awesome Christmas ornament. It's all
Yeah, it is,
metal.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I
Tim's
mean,
talk.
it's well
What's
done.
up? Tim's talking, buddy.
But hey, Tim. But yeah, no, there are a lot of things I hated about this movie, and a lot of things I loved. You know, it's like the best of times, the worst of times. But in the end, it was an entertaining movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 on my review earlier. There's a lot you could nitpick with it. You know, as a geek who's probably read, I don't know, maybe over 3,000 Spider-Man comics. Like, who the heck knows how many? But I've got every issue since issue 300. So what the heck are they up to now? But that doesn't matter. I think Sean's. Yeah, and how many editions? They keep doing new editions, but Sean is right. If you grew up with the movies, this was a great tribute to the movies. With Tobey Maguire, and that the first two Maguire Spider-Man movies were fantastic, and especially to see Spider-Man, actually on the live action. I grew up with the Nick Hammond Spider-Man, where I was joking with Clobberin, like, oh God, we'd tell friends like, "Oh, Spidey shot his webs this week. Do you see that? You got one web shot per week.
Oh God, no, it was more than that.
Or twice a week.
It was twice in one episode. I do
Twice in one episode,
remember.
maybe. So I mean, just the way special effects have come, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get a good movie. As I said before, of Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I think Amazing 2 was just a total disaster. So I think, like you guys said, they did kind of rehabilitate some of the villains in those movies that were kind of going towards that Sinister Six earlier with Sony, and it crashed and burned so badly they had to come to Marvel and say, "Hey, can we, let's make a deal basically and save this character," because after Amazing Spider-Man 2, things were not looking up for our neighborhood, favorite friendly neighborhood web slinger like it usually does in his real life. So. And then people in my theater were, it was almost packed IMAX theater, and I'd say like 90% full, and people were going crazy, especially when, Toby came through the portal, and when, then who do they call Spider-Man 2? I guess it was Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, which is pretty fun. So, and then people in our theater were screaming for Miles Morales to come through, and other characters to come through each time, every time they did the portal. So it was fun to see that fan, people in the theater go nuts, because that's why you go on an opening night, right? Or the packed theater. Yeah. If you want a quiet theater, stay home opening night. I saw some people complaining about that, but I did have some problems with my biggest problems to be negative were like the portrayal of Doctor Strange. Why is he not the Sorcerer Supreme? The whole spell mumbo jumbo didn't make sense, and we'll talk about that. Get into that more, but it was kind of like a means to the end. So. I like how, in the end, as much as I think this is a cool, Christmas ornament, we're not going to see the suit again. And we're going to have, we're in spoiler territory. So we got to see this suit swinging in. So, which looked awesome. So, at the end. So,
too, yeah.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Yeah, I tell you what, even if and I really do like the movie a lot, don't get me wrong, but even if I did not like it, I have a lot of things that really aggravate me about it. And I'll go into those a little bit, but I love what it's doing right now, almost more than the movie itself. Hello there, Zack Snyder fanboy. Welcome. I've never seen you here before. You're going to love it here. I'm very pleased to see it doing well. I'm very pleased to see all the excitement about it, because this is genuine excitement about a film, rather than all the other things which happened. Like I say, yeah, you may have had your criticisms of Ghostbusters Afterlife, but it was a similar deal. People were just excited about a movie, whether you liked it or not. It was good to see that again, and it's good to see that now. And the Spider-Man fever for this film is real. It is highly enjoyable. I hate, and I don't do this often, but I kind of hate it when I go too far into the thought process and a movie is damaged for me. I'm trying not to let it. There's some things in this movie that really, really aggravate me story-wise. However, and Sean, you nailed it so well. I mean, that's amazing what you just said. When you talked about how this film is really aimed at a generation that grew up with Spider-Man as a movie character, for better or worse. Possibly, in some ways, a cartoon character, since he's been in a few cartoons as well. But for the most part, he is a he is that. Just like, and I've said this about the Marvel films for a long time, Sean.
Mhm.
And over the past 20 years, I've said, Iron Man, Captain America, some of these other MCU characters or whatever are, to the general populace, they're not comic book characters. They are movie characters.
Right.
But especially as portrayed in these films, they're more popular that way. So
It's
but I did enjoy it.
it's the James Bond syndrome. It's like it's the deal with the devil you make when you become a giant movie franchise. Then no one remembers your source material anymore. If I were to ask someone what their favorite iteration of James Bond is, they will tell me an actor like Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan. My favorite iteration is the Ian Fleming novels, because that is the character. It's a continuity. Some of the stories there
are James Bond books.
Yeah, they're in reading books,
and not John Gardner either.
But that's the thing. I mean, like I think in time, and it's even happening right now. A lot of these characters will just be movie characters to people. It'll be frustrating for us, but hopefully the people behind these films can go back to the source material as often as possible. But
I know people that do go back. Like there was a couple of young people working for me when I had an escape room who loved the Marvel movies. And they came to me and they literally said, "Oh, I love these Marvel movies. You're a comic nerd. What can you tell me?" And I told the one guy, and I said, "Look, let's go to the comic shops. Let's find some stuff. They've got those essentials. There's tons of those. They're very affordable for So if it brings someone to the original source material stuff, like I didn't grow up with James Bond. Now I've read almost all the books through watching the movies, and I started with that set that I'm looking at over there. That I don't know, whatever years that anniversary set was the whole collection.
Yeah. So
I think some people are going back. So it does help. Like the hype does help the character and James Bond. And I'm okay with James Bond being a novel and Spider-Man being a comic book character that I can read because I can read it anytime I want. And I'm okay with the movie portrayals to a point. So it doesn't upset me. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't upset me if it's not exactly the comics, but if I feel that it's Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire, the first two movies, I felt like, this was kind of Spider-Man. He didn't have the web shooters, but it felt Spider-Man-ish. But I mean, when it gets too far away from the character,
if there's no Uncle Ben in a Spider-Man's story, then is it Spider-Man?
So what did you say? Sorry, I missed what was it? What did you say?
Like Uncle Ben is not part of Tom Holland's Spider-Man
right,
story.
So,
apparently.
Aunt May is Uncle Ben now.
To me, it's like, well, how far away are we?
Yeah, I wasn't fond of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's basically, I guess, that's their explanation of the multiverse. Because I was trying to remember too, J-Man. I was like, wait, I haven't seen, remembered, the past movies. Like we never saw Uncle Ben, which was good that they kind of skipped the origin. But one of the big complaints about this iteration or the MCU iteration of Spider-Man was he didn't go through any of those trials and tribulations and, the tragedy of losing Uncle Ben, which was, not his fault, but directly, but, indirectly, he could have stopped the burglar. And, everyone who knows the Spidey origin. So this kind of was, that version for his character to suffer, which was kind of poignant in the end when they're all talking, I thought the best moment for me, I thought in the movie, or the most touching moment, aside from, of course, Aunt May passing, was when Garfield saves Zendaya or MJ, and he starts to cry, and then he realizes the impact of losing Gwen Stacy, and maybe he could have saved Gwen Stacy, which happened, and in the mainstream Marvel comics, it's something Spider-Man's had to deal with. So they've kind of split that up between the characters.
Well. Yeah. Well, I wanted to bounce something off of everyone before we just start. I want to give you my only big, gigantic complaint and get everyone's take on it. Yep. And then we'll just go from there anywhere you guys want to go in terms of how you want to take the direction of breaking down the film. I have a big problem with any film that its entire premise and story hinges on the characters doing something unbelievably stupid and out of character. Even if I like the movie, Doctor Strange was irresponsible and idiotic. And, Peter Parker, look, he's a kid, okay? Him trying to go to Doctor Strange for a magical solution to his problems, I have no problem with. I don't even have a problem with the bit with him, talking during the spell and all that stuff. But Doctor Strange is extremely out of character and reckless. I'm like almost thinking, when I first saw the trailers, I'm like, that's probably Mephisto pretending to be Doctor Strange or doing some kind of crazy crap. But it is not. It is Doctor Strange just like, I'll just throw it. And again, if you're going, we were talking about this last night, Mark, in private. If you're going to do that, and then Wong's like, well, that's not a good idea. Well, just leave me out of it. The hell. Yeah, screw around with the universe. It's fine. Yeah, I'm sure nothing will go wrong. You're good.
Yeah, it was weird the way Wong just left and said, I'll leave you to it or whatever.
Leave
Like,
you
and
to
Wong
it.
was acting like a jerk. Strange was acting like a jerk in a lot of the movie.
And then, but see, all right, the character is acting completely irresponsible and out of character. He should have said one of two things. If he is going to actually do this, which is dubious in the extreme, dubious that he would even agree to anything like this for Peter, he should have said, "Okay, but we're going to have to have a little conversation about this first and set up some parameters." He just jumps right into it willy nilly, and then of course Peter, who doesn't understand this kind of crap, starts interfering with it, and then wackiness ensues. It's something along the lines of the idiot plot, and I hate your whole movie. Happened because of an idiot plot that aggravates the crap out of me. I still like it, but man, it bothers me.
It bothered me in the
Sherry.
trailers. Yeah.
Sherry, hello there. Love to see you. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, it bothered me in the trailers. It looked like a sitcom type of plot, you know.
Yeah, and it was.
And it makes Doctor Strange. The problem with having guests in these movies is that they start jobbing for the title character, and that's kind of what happens here. It's like Doctor Strange is a goof, and then later on, Spider-Man defeats Doctor Strange.
In his own universe.
In his own universe.
I hate that too.
And it's like, you know,
but he's good at geometry.
Yeah, well, whatever. But I mean, it's cool that he's in this movie, but like, if he has to be out of character and a goof and like devalued, then I'd rather he not be in it. They sort of try to maintain his authority at the end when people like Ned and everyone are still respectful of him, and they know he's mad. But yeah, just you have to get past all that crap. The only cool thing I liked about them fighting each other is when Doctor Strange separates Spider-Man, astral form and physical form, and discovers that the physical form still has the Spidey sense. So
that's cool.
It's still
Yeah.
That was cool. That's a cool little bit of detail there.
Yes.
But having him be a goof, and he's a goof in this, you know?
He
Like,
really
why
is.
would he make a universe altering spell for like? Yeah, they've been through a lot, but that it's still irresponsible.
Well, they explained it away with the joke. Like, you remember that party in, was it Hawaii?
Yeah,
Whatever
it's
they
like,
said.
oh,
They said,
no.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course I can kind of forget, hey, it's a comic book movie. They're going to, cast a spell. But what I didn't like was Strange acting out of character and acting kind of nasty and then aloof and then being super friendly to Peter and saying, it was a nice line. Like, you can call me Steven, but I don't like it. Still don't like it. There was some good, character touches there. But if you've read a lot of Doctor Strange comics, like we probably have, that. But for the casual viewer, they're they don't.
Right.
That's in the weeds comic book geek kind of stuff. But
I wouldn't excuse it if we were talking about real Star Trek or something like that. A little bit, it needs to be a little bit more serious and coherent, or something along real Trek or something. Mm-hmm. But with a comic book movie, I'm willing to cut it some slack, but I still don't like it. I think it was just lazy writing.
Yeah, they needed some way to do it, I suppose. In terms of like Spider-Man defeating Strange in his mirror verse, but I mean, there's been 4 million instances of superheroes fighting each other and they defeat the other guy in a weird way. You're like, can that Spider-Man beats Juggernaut? It's like, okay, how is that happening? It's like, look, whoever book it is wins, right? That's sort of except for that Daredevil issue where someone kicked the crap out of him. Basically, Namor kicked the crap out of Daredevil in that one early Daredevil issue, and
number 7.
And then he just walked away. He's like, "Yeah, whatever, buddy." But I mean, at least it was a cool. At least it was playing to Peter Parker's strengths. Though I don't know how math it really works in that mirror verse in order to stop him. But like, it's magic. Look, guys, it's magic. Once you throw magic in there, what's the rules? I don't know what the rules are. It's whatever.
True.
And Doctor Strange is arrogant, and he probably thought I could contain this spell and it will be okay. But Parker kept, doing his little Parkerisms, and he's like, "Dude, you're interrupting me," and that kind of got out of hand. He still contained it. I don't know. That didn't bother me. It was a bit weird in the trailer, but I noticed that they re-edited everything in that trailer. Got re-edited in this movie because the line was different, and even the way Wong was like doing stuff, it was different. I don't know if they went back and reshot something or if they took alternate takes.
Probably alternate. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, because his line wasn't there.
Absolutely. Eric K, what's up, buddy?
I had one question, and this is kind of I was asking Clobby this last night. I was talking to my son about it, who went with me. Like, why did all the Peter Parkers come into the universe? Like the spell, I thought he contained the spell in that MacGuffin, that trap. So the spell didn't work, right? Everyone still remembered he was Peter Parker. But what was the and I'm probably didn't pay attention. Yeah, why? No, but why did all the other not Ned, but why why did Venom show up? Why did the Sinister Five show up? What was the screw up on the spell that drew that pulled everyone into the universe? I was trying to remember what that
knew who Spider-Man, Peter Parker were, or something like that.
It was new.
Yeah,
right.
It was open for a little bit, and in that split second, anybody who knew who his dual identity got sucked through.
But conveniently, it's all the people in the movies we saw. So
except for Harry Osborn.
Yeah,
Harry Osborn knew, and he could have been there. Why not?
Yeah, but Iron Man, Tony Stark could have come back, right? I guess then in that context, right?
Through time and space, because guys who are dead in the present day came back.
They're calling for Peter Parker, and so it's the Peter Parkers that are in the MCU that came out into the hole or whatever. And they only do it twice because, as we know, there are only 2 other movie franchises. They don't do it a third time, because they know when to stop, right?
But I think that's
a movie thing, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I was just trying to remember what the screw up on the spell was. But so it was something with Peter Parker. Yeah, all the Peter Parker, because with the change in the spell, so it was anyone who knew, because he kept changing the spell. So then at the end, like the last line was like, well, anyone who knew my secret identity, I guess, before Mysterio maybe or something like that. But I guess Garfield and Maguire were actually on Earth somewhere else, I guess. They were. So Ned pulled them in. Ned pulled them, closer, I guess. So that was that last scene with Venom. I guess he was in Mexico. So
they're in the city in the MCU, and then they get pulled to Ned when he does the thing.
But that's present day. So it's like that's where they are now. The villains are in their time right before, some almost right before they die. Maybe something spiritual happens, and they connect.
So I brought this up to you, Jay, man. Like the spell doesn't make sense to me, and I'm sure they'll gloss it over in interviews or something like that. Mm-hmm. But like basically, it's pulling these villains in points in time. So not necessarily the same timeline for each one when they die. Yeah. So then Tom Holland is like, well, let's cure them before they go back. But what's to say that when they go back, they're not going to go back to the point they died in?
Because in Endgame, in Endgame, they said that if you get sucked out, and then it just means that in your
timeline is this.
You get sucked out. When they go back to their universe in the present time. So it's like they're just
time. I thought it would be maybe like if they spent 2 days in the MCU, then they go back 2 days later in their
which is the present.
You don't say this though. That's the
I
thing.
thought they were going back at the exact time they got taken out.
No, I don't think so.
I would figure they go back to the time they died.
What they said.
What's the point of reforming them?
But they explained this in Endgame, and in Endgame it was weird. Anyways, right?
Yeah. The other thing too that doesn't make sense is when they're working on the cures. The Tobey Maguire version is like, I've been working on a cure for Green Goblin for years. Well, Green Goblin died like freaking years ago in his time. So why would he have been working on that?
That made no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
Look, this is I'm gonna pull out the timey-wimey.
Stop using logic.
I'm using timey-wimey. Oops. It's like the thing is, like, maybe he was working on a cure at some point prior to that, and then he said, I was working on a cure, and it just never panned out, and Harry and all that, and then now he goes back to it. He didn't say I was working on a cure 5 minutes ago. I don't.
Yeah, because and the green, that Green Goblin character only existed in that universe for a very short time too, right? In terms of Spider, it wasn't like he was a long time. He could have said, "Oh, years ago I was working on a cure," but those are the kind of things that just movie mumbo jumbo, and you kind of just. It's a point that's doesn't make sense, and you kind of.
Did Harry Osborn die in part 3? I can't remember.
Amazing 2, I thought, right?
No, but
Harry
Maguire's movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The third one,
Okay. All right.
That's
where you got that fun line from Ned.
He could have come back since all these other versions came back from various points. I guess they just didn't feel like bringing him back because it didn't work. I don't know, but he could have easily.
Or money.
And another thing that Mark and I were talking about last night that is some really irresponsible and questionable bit where why is he bringing them to the freaking condo? Why don't you just keep them in the cages and work on them, or go get that stuff and bring it there or something like that.
Keep them,
Yeah.
because
I feel like
That-
he just
that
didn't
was
know the scope
not
of their
good.
crimes, right? So
I
don't know.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But man, Norm,
I want to
that's
bring
true, he
a
didn't know how
giant
dangerous-
lizard creature home to my Aunt May. You know?
Yeah.
We'll keep him in the truck. It'll be fine.
He's a bit too trusting in this movie.
Yes.
And
Well,
well,
he
and it
hasn't had
cost
anything
him.
bad
So,
happen to him. Like this was the whole.
Yeah,
This is
that's
where
the
Tom
thing.
Holland. Yeah, Tom Holland's Spider-Man
I don't know.
is different.
He's been through a few things though. I mean, look what he went through on Titan, and he
yeah,
saw.
he doesn't. He
And,
doesn't
and
know
he
who
lost
died,
Tony's.
really.
He lost his mentor. Tony Stark had watched him die. He was in that big battle. I mean, I don't know. I think he's a little bit too naive considering some of the things he's been
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, I don't think has his trust been broken. Like if someone's like, okay, yeah, thanks so much for your help, I'll help you, and then I don't think he's been betrayed in that way. He's had bad things happen to him, but no one's really kind of betrayed him. I don't think so. He was a bit naive. He's definitely not naive now. He's
Not.
He's the
jaded.
worst Spider-Man of all time because he has zero people. Like even with Ben being gone, there's still Aunt May and like friend. This guy's got
MJ.
zero, nobody, no superhero
Nobody.
help. He's like alone.
I
Well, I have
was,
a question, like too, when they said no one remembers he's Peter Parker. Does that mean he has no birth certificate or no ID? I mean, he can't go
Yeah,
vote
I
now. I mean,
guess.
how much? I mean, no one is it. No one remembers him, or he never existed. I guess maybe if no one remembers him, that means no one knows who he is. But how do you even get money for that apartment?
No,
I mean,
they know who Spider-Man is. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
existed.
They
But
just
not
don't,
Peter.
they just forgot about Peter Parker. So anyone who knew Peter Parker just forgot about him. Like I forgot about Tom Smith, who I don't know who Tom Smith is. I just randomly made up a name. So it's just.
But it's not like
he's.
he doesn't exist. It's just no one remembers.
Yeah,
him.
it's not. It's a Wonderful Life or whatever Spider-Man
Yeah.
edition. Where it's like he was never born or whatever. It's just that nobody cares about him.
It was a relatively short time between the end of that terrible Far From Home thing and this.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, yes, the whole world knew who Peter Parker was, but as far as people in his personal life that knew, yeah, I get, I could that I can buy into a little bit. It's just, I don't
But
know.
like he had an idea, I guess that he had, he existed, but he.
How did MJ still have the necklace? Did she now? Did she now?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
So Sherry, good point. I guess she did. I guess I don't know. I'm drawing a blank because I'm old and senile, Sherry. But I
Yeah.
think she had the necklace. Are you saying she had the necklace at the end in the donut shop?
That was the one that she got in the last movie, right? That he gave her in the last movie. If I'm remembering right.
Oh,
So I think he still
On the
gave it
trip.
to her. Like
But yeah.
everything happened. It's just at that moment she got a mind wipe.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
she doesn't know who gave it to her.
Oh, I had a friend. We went on a
Ah.
field trip and I got something.
Yeah.
Marshall
Who
Lewis,
was that
hello
again?
there. Yeah, who gave this to me? She's probably sitting there going, "Where'd I get this thing?"
Where did I get this from?
So there you go. That's a good point there, though, Sherry. Thank you. I guess she doesn't know. So boom, it was wiped out.
Good catch.
Don't play with magic, Doctor Strange, you dumbass. Basically, And they had some. Look, all right, I got to tell you, it literally I got a little queasy when it came to Peter making the decision. Okay, I can send these guys back who never belonged there in the first place. Sorry they die and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not trying to sound unheroic here, but you're still breaking the damn universe and you're fiddling with things you shouldn't be understanding. No, they died fighting Spider-Man. They got their asses killed themselves. Boo-hoo. I get it. You have no story if Spider-Man doesn't go super altruistic and try to help them. And that is I let it go because that's a very Spider-Man thing to do.
Yeah.
But man, dude, that don't.
Well, Aunt
that
May,
didn't
I guess
work
they
out well.
I guess they explained it
Aunt
by
May
Aunt May
helped
saying,
saying,
saying not, don't do it or don't send them back to die, which ultimately, I think led to her unfortunate demise. And I thought that was a good, well done scene too, where you see the Goblin glider come in and you think that she's going to make it.
Yeah.
And then and I'm like, cause it's like, and people, when she said with great power comes great responsibility, everyone in my theater gasped. It was like, everyone's like, oh, and then people are going like, is Aunt May gonna die? Is Aunt May gonna die? Yeah, you could hear people, and then she got up, and people started to clap because like she's not dead. And then when he had the blood on his hand, and she, and then everyone was, really upset, and it wasn't as bad. And when Tony Stark passed away, I felt so bad. There was a poor 10-year-old or 11-year-old girl when Tony Stark died, could not stop crying, like inconsolable. Not like a kid who's, it was just inconsolable. I felt so bad for them. I mean, that's how attached people get to these characters. So of course, Aunt May wasn't the same, as but people were very very shocked that she had passed away in my theater. It was a big reaction to that.
Don't
moment.
worry, everyone. We're about to get to some stuff that we liked.
Oh yeah.
What I want to do is I want to go around the horn here and first to give a follow. Does anyone have any other criticisms or complaints? Because we're going to also start talking about some of the wonderful things about the movie that I've been. But first, J-Man.
Yeah.
Anything that you would that we didn't cover that you would like to kind of that you're skeptical about?
This is a personal thing, but like I don't like where everything's at night all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it'll look okay on my TV at home, but like Eternals had a lot of dark spots, and this had a lot of dark parts too. And we didn't see it in 3D because 3D just makes things darker.
Yeah,
but we saw.
They
it
still have
IMAX.
3D. They still have 3D versions.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Really?
Around here, we have
3D
3D's dead
advertised?
now.
I haven't.
We don't have
Owen
that.
saw it in 3D. You could buy 3D tickets right now.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So anyway,
Been able to buy them for years. Yeah.
oh, we still do it here. Yeah, but it was just dark. I thought, I wish it was a bit brighter, but I understand that it's dark because like what's going on is a bit darker in this movie, sure.
Right.
But it's just an aesthetic thing. Like I like to see Spider-Man in the daytime swinging around. We got a little bit of that. I miss things where like I'm not again Superman to bring Superman back, but like Superman 1 where he's just flying and he's with Lois and he's flying, or something where it's like I want to see the hero enjoying himself being the hero, and just Spider-Man goes out for a swing. Like that's what I would do. When I played a video game, I go and swing around for
Me
a while.
too.
I don't even do missions. You just swing
I love
around.
that.
Like, right. So it there's a little bit. There's a lot to happen in this movie. So I understand that they don't have time to piss around with scenes like that. But it helps me get into the movie. It helps me get into the world of the character and feel like I am the character swinging around with them. So the dark parts and not enough of Spider-Man just being Spider-Man is the only negatives.
Yeah, I got you, Sean. Any other bones to pick with this?
No, just Doctor Strange the spell. The dark parts. Sometimes it was hard to see what was going on. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. And just my nitpick has always been the stupid costumes they give them just to sell more figures, like that one that you have Mark D. Because my problem with that version, and maybe I understand what's going on, but like Night's created and it's all shiny, but then when he's not fighting, it looks like a Hot Topics like a sweatshirt or something, and like it looks terrible. Like when there's close-ups and he's talking to everyone in that lab. It just looks like cloth, and it just looks like a flimsy sort of design. I'm glad all that stuff is over, according to the last scene. So yeah,
we'll get this going forward. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark.
Yeah.
So sorry to keep showing all these things, but
that's okay. Never be sorry about that.
Doctor Strange, and more not so much the spell, but just his character, because I can forgive the goofiness of the spell. Just being out of character and being a real jerk at some points, and Wong's portrayal and just leaving there, kind of they didn't want to pay him to be in the movie longer. I thought they would have worked on the spell together and explained the spell, ahead of time. And the other nitpick was too when the I love that opening. We'll talk to things we love, but I love that opening fight, and he's got the nanites leave this suit and go back to Ock, and then he gets the nanites back, but he never uses the powers of this crazy Iron Spider suit again.
Yeah.
Once the nanites go back and rebuilt the costume, which didn't make sense to me. It was an oversight. Either he's got that fancy costume, which we don't like, but at least he's got those extra powers. But for some reason, those powers didn't come back. It was a lot at night, but my IMAX, it was really easy to see. Maybe it was just the projection is set different in your theater. But the mask kept coming off too, right? So it was like Spidey was maskless most of the time, which I think they love having the actors being able to emote and see their eyes. But it kept seeming, Spidey's swinging around without his mask. Most of the time, the mask is coming off, which I guess is just a movie ploy. And but other than that, I mean, it's it was a fun movie. So you can get into the nitpicks. People might think listening to this first part, we didn't really like the movie, but overall it left you felt good leaving the theater despite the death of tragic death of Aunt May and what had happened. And also he did allegedly redeem those characters, so so his mission did work. So let's see how it turns out, although that kind of ruins the plans for that version of the Sinister Six if all those characters are redeemed. So
I on balance, like I said, those things that I always, it kind of sticks in my craw a little bit when your film does, or your story does depend upon people doing really ridiculous things that don't make a lot of sense. Doesn't ruin a film if the film is supposed to be just kind of, goofy, fun action stuff. Of course, this is not that lighthearted a film. Which that's kind of what's great about it, in the sense that it does manage to still make you feel good, and even though it's not a very lighthearted film, they got some of the MCU yucks in there, but for the most part, it's a relatively dark film for them. But Spider-Man has always been kind of dark in the sense that he always loses, he always gets his ass kicked, or he wins and loses at the same time. I mean, he's just a guy that will win for the greater good, but for him, it'll mess his whole life up. And that's very Spider-Man-ish. A personal problem I have with the J. Jonah Jameson characterization as AJ, I won't say the name, but who he's basically based on, really aggravates me. I think that's stupid crap what they did to the Daily Bugle. I hate that with a passion. And I like J.K. Simmons, so I don't like that decision whatsoever. We'll get into what we love in a second, but I'll just say I'll cheat and give one thing I love right away. The Charlie Cox cameo was fantastic. I think that was very smart, because it got me in a good mood right away. I was already okay, and the movie was, I'm going, let's see what this movie's going to do to sell me, because I couldn't stand Homecoming, and I really couldn't stand Far From Home. I've liked Tom Holland in the other Marvel films, but I didn't like him in his own. And I don't like Iron Spider Boy or any of that stuff. So I was very skeptical going into this one. And stuff like that gave me a lot of goodwill going forward. Like, oh, that was fun. That was cool. This movie seems to have it together, have its heart in the right place. And again, except for some of those things I mentioned, it, for the most part, did. And the dark scenes and stuff like that, I'm kind of with you there, J-Man. Some of that stuff bothered me a little bit. At least the fight on the bridge was in the daytime. That's something. But I would have loved to have seen a little bit more him having fun as Spider-Man, but this was not really to be, because it starts out with this problem of being exposed. So, J-Man, just give us a basic rundown of what you enjoyed about the film, and you could, overall, your basic summation of the film, your basic thoughts on it.
I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. Spider-Man's in my top 5 favorite Marvel characters. He's a childhood favorite. He's my favorite Marvel character as a kid. I felt that this movie had a lot of awesome Spider-Man stuff. And and Sean and I took film courses and all that, and we can critique, and I can go through all the tone and the plot and structure and all this crap. End of the day, when I watch a superhero movie, if the superhero himself or the good guys himself are cool, and I can believe in what they're doing, and I feel that it's Spider-Man, there's Spider-Man-isms. Yes, he would want to save the heroes. Yes, he screws things up for his own personal life, but he kind of gets the win, as you're saying. To me, this is a Spider-Man thing, and it's a celebration. I know it's a celebration of the movies, but the comics have changed so many times. Like, for us, the comics are a certain number. Sean literally said it's Amazing Spider-Man 1 to 300 or whatever. It's like, they're not going to make movies just based on 1 to 300. They're going to have to do other things, right? So for me, I like the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man stuff as well, right? So I feel that the movie has to kind of give us all of the cool Spider-Man things, and I think we got all of that in this movie. I love seeing all 3 of them together, the 3 of them talking. I know it's there to as fan service, as nostalgia, but it's not fan service, and it's not only nostalgia, because their characters have grown since those movies, and they talk to each other and they help each other. I love that part. It's not like Ghostbusters where they literally have Gozer back for fan service nostalgia, but she literally does the exact same stuff she did in the last movie and says the same lines of dialogue. I'm like, that's just literally repeating it. This isn't repeating. This is new footage, new stuff with these characters. And same thing it's like Christopher Reeve Superman. He's awesome. I love Superman. If he's in it, I love Superman 3. I love Superman 4. They're trash movies, but Superman's great. and it's like, if I feel that Spider-Man is doing a lot of cool stuff, swinging around, fighting guys, cool. And the villains were awesome. They redeemed, like, Jamie Foxx was so awful. he was so awful in that movie, and he's so cool in this movie. And freaking
Yes.
like, dude, Willem Dafoe, man, yet again, he just keeps proving what a badass guy he is in this movie. It's like, he just like he flips. You can tell in his face, in his eye, when it's like, it's Norman is gone. You're like, oh shit, right? Like he just kind of turned a little bit. I'm like, it just, these guys are.
Sorry, Jay, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Hey,
This is a really cool figure. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
Paulie with Latino
Hey, Paulie.
Slam. What's up, buddy? A Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian spider can. What's up, buddy?
Oh, that's awesome.
I love that figure because it's basically a Willem Dafoe figure.
It's Willem
He has a
Dafoe
shirt
figure.
and pants and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, because
You
yeah,
can
the sculpt is pretty good actually.
I
So.
love
Yeah.
That's from the first movie.
He could be Boondock Saints, Willem Dafoe. If
Yes.
put the coat on.
Totally.
Any Willem Dafoe you want. Yeah.
Any Willem Dafoe you want, you can change him. Yeah, so look, and the villains were cool, man. Like, I don't know, it was just like, it's really fun. And this proved, take notes, Zack Snyder, this proved that you can please fans who are older comic book nerds who get very angry when characters aren't exactly what they want them to be. You can still please them and entertain us. You can entertain new audiences. You can make a darker storyline with a little bit more, weight to it and some bad things happening. You could do all that and still have heroic action and superhero stuff. So
Yes.
this is the movie that they tried to do with the DCEU, and they just weren't able to really do it with any of them. Maybe Wonder Woman, and that's about it. But so yeah, I really liked it a lot. It's my third favorite of the Spider-Man films. I'm buying it on 4K immediately. So
Excellent. I'm with you, man. Sean, your basic
I guess we
rundown of
can-
what you liked, and your basic. We'll go into more depth after we do this, but I want to get that from you. What Sean? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just in shock of the care that was taken in making this movie. It's not just a slapdash. Listen, it's going to be a corporate greedy cash grab, right? But there's a lot of synergies. Even the weird, I'll just mention that the Wilson Fisk was revealed on Hawkeye on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, Friday, the second of the 1-2 punch. You show Daredevil. That's crazy timing, everyone, all the ducks have to be lined up in a row there. Beyond that, just letting moments breathe, like even the death of Aunt May, it's like you don't know if it's really going to happen, and it just drags. There's a lot of suspense to it. It's fairly masterful, and all the conversations that they have with each other and stuff. It's the dream conversations you want.
yeah,
There's a lot of dream checkoff boxes there, but they're done with a lot of care and emotion and heart, and taking their time with it. This movie had to be 2.5 hours long, and as I said before, it could have been a huge incomprehensible mess. Like we're still picking apart the spell, right? But the main broad strokes are they're all there and they have to do something about it. They stuck to the true heart of Spider-Man. He's not a grumbly emo dude. All three of them are great. Tom Holland, of course, wants to reform the villains. That makes a lot of sense. And even he has his doubts, right? After Aunt May dies, he's like, well, then what am I doing this for? I love all the. I love Zendaya in this. Zendaya,
yes, I forgot to
in the
mention
other
that.
two movies. Yeah. She's great in this, and she deals with a lot of nuance to her character. Like towards the end, I was like, you know what? I remember when MJ in the first movie was just that cynical, like, hey, what's up, dude? And it's like, where's that? And then she's that at the end, sort of implying that Peter Parker through these movies sort of brought her out of her shell. But she's back to being part 1 MJ at the very end. I thought that was very subtle and very nice. All the acting here is great. My one other nitpick I had, just a nitpick, was I just wanted to see Green Goblin for once, the real Green Goblin. I know that
So close.
Willem Dafoe is great in this. Excellent, and he could have made a great Joker at some point, but yeah, I mean, just have. I know that they did test makeup for the very first movie that they abandoned, which is very close to the comics Green Goblin. He has the color scheme and everything, and there he is. And Willem
we didn't
Dafoe is excellent as just a guy who just oozes vitriol. But I would like to have seen that at some point. But overall, I'm just amazed at this film. It's the second in a sort of a genre that Marvel is kind of making like out of thin air, which is the sort of season finale movie. And they did it with Endgame. They've done it here. This to me is probably the more enjoyable of the two. And it's just a lot of heart, and you walk away really like feeling like you want to go back and revisit some moments from it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Eric K with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. What? Aunt May died? No. Yeah. Yeah. They never really ever call her Aunt May. They just say May, but we're calling her Aunt May because we're just used to that. But yes. Yeah. Hello, Narada Amanda Bear. Good to see you there. Paulie, good to see you, buddy. Latino Slant, Canadian Spidey, and Just Joe Jobber. What's up, bro? Good to see you, man. And go ahead, Mark. Tell us a little bit about what you liked.
Well, just mention Aunt May there. It always disturbed me that Aunt May was hot or cute. Marissa Tomei.
Yes,
and I was waiting for like a My Cousin Vinny moment when they were in the beginning with Matt Murdock. Like, I know that'd be ridiculous, but like just mention like, what kind of tire tracks did that car have? But no, I love the opening of the movie. Like right away, Spider-Man's thrown to the wolves, and he's like, "What? People know who I am." And I guess what was really cool, you could see how joyous it was web slinging, even though it was, getting away from everyone. And that scene with, MJ where he grabs her. And I think it was at the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever bridge that they went to the top of. And like he's just standing there, like he's Spider-Man. Who cares? And she's just like you and me would be on top of that bridge, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here. And he's like, oh, sorry, MJ. And she's like, I never want to do that again. Never want to do that again. And then when the crowd is like, gonna grab, crushing her, he's like, let's go, we gotta go. So that whole web slinging, and that was daytime too. So that was I thought that was really cool. And then they went back to the house, so you had that funny scene in the apartment where he's half undressed and all these noise, bang, insinuating they're, someone's getting lucky. And it's really just, they're having that conversation there. Like, it's not what you think. And, Happy is there, and that whole, that was a great start to the movie, I thought, and really, really pulled you in. And then he realizes, how everything is screwed up. The one nitpick too, I mean, they're getting all these letters back, and they're thin, small letters. I just had, kids. I'm like, when you get in, it's a big envelope, a big package. When you get the small letter, it's a rejection. So I was laughing at that, but that's, silly stuff. Yeah. But, it shows you how cool of a guy, and concerned guy, Peter Parker is, Spider-Man, for his friends. So really the motivation for the spell, in part itself, selfish, but I think also the good part is they're showing it's not just him being selfish, it's also him wanting to give his friends a life too. So I thought that was good that they added all that stuff about not getting to college, and I hate the Flash. I shouldn't be mentioning like with Flash Thompson, I guess, is an internet bully.
Oh, I hate the Flash Thompson.
I mean, he's got to be a big jock terrible. In my mind, and maybe he also knows how to terrorize people on the internet. But yeah, but that that's a huge casting miss, I think, in my opinion. But then the movie we get that in the end when they bring in the three Spider-Men together, and we get the internet meme where he says, Peter, and then they all point at each other, which is that fun internet meme with all the the Spider-Men pointing at each other. So I'm waiting for I guess when that comes out, or someone's gonna be have that's going to be a meme going around everywhere. But I thought the villains were redeemed, like you guys said. I thought Jamie Foxx's Electro was much better. And then you notice when they brought him back, they gave him kind of like an Electro suit versus it
was kind of nice.
Versus the invisible Smurf look that he had in the second movie, and they fixed his teeth and his hair, which was a kind of a fun joke. But that villain was just so poorly done in that movie. And of course, we can see why the first movie worked so well was partly because of how fantastic William Dafoe is. And you did kind of get to see kind of a Hobgoblin outfit. I know you didn't get to see, this classic, the classic look, but I thought by smashing his it was kind of symbolic. They smashed the silly goblin mask in the first
the Power
moment of
Rangers
the movie.
mask.
The Power Ranger mask, they smash that. So then when he's going around on the glider with that sweatsuit, and he's got the hood, it kind of more Hobgoblin look, but it did look and he had the Power Ranger suit underneath. I thought that looked at least passable, and of course Defoe with his face and how scary it looks. I think that was a plus. Sandman was probably the weakest villain, I thought. Just because of how many characters there are. I mean, trying to give him lines, or he was sympathetic, but Lizard
as bad as Lizard though. Lizard got nothing.
Lizard had a couple of funny.
Again, was terrible, lines. Just like Electro was terrible in those two movies.
Yeah. So, and I hate the design of the Lizard is terrible. I was hoping maybe they would just change the design instead of
more of a snout and maybe a lab coat.
Yeah, he looks too much like a slee stack in the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, the fight scenes were fun, even though we don't like maybe him fighting Strange. That's the trope of fighting a superhero. But I love, the visuals were amazing. That was looked great. And of course, one of my favorite scenes was the end with the blue and red classic Spidey outfit. I was like, yes. That was my son was like, what?
Absolutely beautiful.
What, you like that, Dad? I'm like, yeah, that was, and it just showed you how classic that design is when he's swinging it. I'm like, give me one more. Like I wanted to see like they kind of flashed it. It was tough to make out. But I wanted to get that a really nice scene of that. But so the movie ends on that uplifting note, even though his character's reset, and you're getting the Spider-Man that we know and love in the comics, where things don't go his way, but he's still going out to fight crime, and he should be fighting like that neighborhood ground level Daredevil like Daredevil fights, that kind. You shouldn't be in the Avengers. You shouldn't be fighting space aliens like Tom Holland was not Tom what Tobey Maguire said. I never got to fight space aliens, or Andrew Garfield said it. Look how lucky you are. But and they got those conversations right too. I think those were they did those well between the character. It wasn't like fan service where it could go really wrong, and you just have a throwaway line where there we go, where you get the character in for Ramita, just like 2 seconds. Ramita, yep. Where you get those.
That was beautiful.
Where I'm trying, like Ghostbusters, as good as that movie was, you only really get the characters in for that 5-minute scene. You don't get to experience part of the movie or the salute. That final fight with them. They're kind of like boom, they're there and they're out. This movie, you didn't get 5 minutes a silly cameo. They were an integral part of the movie, which was I thought a nice surprise, and maybe why people liked it so much. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie spoke to the generation that Sean was talking about, that grew up loving the character as a movie character, now a lot of people grew up loving the Maguire movies and not so much the Garfield movies. And yet I got a good buddy of mine that's the reverse. He loves Jobber. This is for you, Jobber. Can you believe Flash? My buddy Flash used to do the show with me for 11-something years and still shows up when he can. He is a big Spider-Man fanatic. He's the one that got Nicholas Hammond on my show when I interviewed him back in 2012. I gotta get him to contact Hammond and see what he thinks about all this. But he hates, can't stand the Holland version. He doesn't even like Tobey Maguire much. He, for some reason, loves Andrew Garfield Spidey. He went to see this movie, Jobber, and Flash loved it. Loved a movie with all those guys in it. So, and that's one of the things, to speak to sort of what I loved about the film. Obviously, the cameo by Charlie Cox got me in a kind of a good mood. Some of the idiocy about the story plots that we mentioned earlier may have taken me out of it a little bit here and there. Nevertheless, it's still thoroughly enjoyable. It's not preaching to us in any way other than the typical, the kind of good moralizing you get from, simplistic, fun superhero comics. It does that pretty well. Again, the performance is all amazing. Alfred Molina, who we haven't talked about yet, he's really excellent in this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Willem Dafoe, of course. I did think Flint Marko didn't get enough, but he got a little bit more than Lizard. Who cares, that Lizard version? Like I said, by the time, and again, Tom Holland. It should be pointed out, Tom Holland's really terrific in this, I think, and that's got to be said. Toby and Andrew, do a pretty good job of the time. It's a good while before we get them.
Yeah.
We get to see them. And at some point, I guess I started wondering, I mean, are we going to, at that point, I'm wondering, if we do see them, how are they going to show up? And they'll probably be just say, hello, how's it going, you guys? I was in other movies. Goodbye. That was kind of what I was expecting. I think they did a nice job, like you just said, Mark, integrating them into the story. I thought that was the key. That's probably what sold the film to everyone. They were probably already having a good time. And then when they saw them working together and talking and the bantering going back and forth, which was goofy Spider-Man type banter, let's be honest. Yep. And I think that's probably what pushed it over the top. And it's a thoroughly entertaining movie all the way through with the criticisms I have. And that ending with him swinging, I know it's only, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Maybe, but man, when he's swinging in that costume through the snow, and we already know because the few minutes before that they're setting up that he's poor old Peter Parker that nobody knows and all that kind of stuff. Wow, that just gave me this, gave me a great feeling. And I think even beyond me enjoying the film, now I need to see it more. And I think I might even just go one day in the middle of the week and just watch it again. I think I find it uplifting in spite of, you'd think, wow, this film is such a downer almost all the way through, but that's Spider-Man. And yet it still manages to be uplifting at the end through all of that. That's not easy to do. They managed to do that, and they've got the whole world excited about a superhero film again. I almost am enjoying the ramifications of that and what is going on out there in the pop culture with regards to the love for this film, just as much as I just enjoyed the film, because I think that is a good thing for us. Will it last? I don't know. But that means maybe we'll get some more decent films. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll last. My niece and nephew are 3. They love Spider-Man. They always want to see my Spider-Man tattoo. And I bought a big, huge Spider-Man. The great thing about Spider-Man in this movie is that there's so much Spider-Man merchandise. They're watching the cartoon, so I bought a big, huge Spider-Man for my nephew, and my niece, I got her Spider-Gwen. She loves Spider-Gwen. 3 years old. It's like, Spider-Man, and they're going around pretending to shoot the webs and stuff. It's like, I know you guys were saying that, it's a movie character now, but the thing is that, like, do you really want someone to be a comic book reader right now and reading the trashy comics that are out now too?
No.
You're right. Like, the character has to survive. Like, I'm a fan of, like, even Clobberin, what you're saying, like, people are just celebrating Spider-Man now. And that's always good because I love that character. I want him to survive, and he will survive. He might change. He might go back to being more of a comic character. Maybe he'll be a cartoon character. Maybe he'll be a video game character more. But everyone's going to have their connection to Spider-Man depending on where they started. Someone did an analogy for me saying that if you like original trilogy, you're kind of partial to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. If you like the prequels, you're kind of into the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans. If you like the trash, the 3 Disney or whatever, the
sequels,
you'll like the Tom Holland stuff. Except for this one now. This one broke that.
Well, my buddy Flash he can't stand the prequels or the Disney trash. And
he's an anomaly.
Just a weirdo. That's why I love him.
Yeah, like we want Spider-Man. I want Spider-Man to survive, and if that means that he's going to be a movie character more than a comic book character, I mean, that's okay. The comics are still there. I'm collecting the old stuff, right? Like Sean and I go to every show. There's one in January. So, it'll survive for us in different forms. Now I've got comic books I can read. I can play video games. I can watch TV shows, cartoons, movies. When we were young, we only had the comic, the 60s cartoon, and that's it. Now we have so many options to us. Like, and if you don't like this Spider-Man movie, maybe you'll like the next one, right? That's great. And it's not like Eternals where it just brought everything down. Like it's like we watched. I don't know how long Eternals is. I don't know if anyone knows the time of that.
18 hours. 18 hours, I think it was.
Yeah, I know. It's around the same length as this movie, and it was a drag fest. Sean and I, we had full 100% capacity for both Eternals and this movie. This was Eternals. Then they got up and walked away. Spider-Man, they were screaming at anything.
They're screaming,
Screaming. It's like Jameson shows up. Yeah, I'm like, we've already seen him. It's like, okay. No, I'm serious. And then it's like, there's when Andrew Garfield showed up, it was a riot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like, even like
Yeah.
not just when people show up, even in scenes like when who's Andrew Garfield is cracking Toby's back. It was like, yeah, and they're clapping, you know, like,
yeah, like what is happening? It's like it's so cool.
And that was a joke from Tobey Maguire having a bad
Yeah,
back and not
having-
wanting to do the next Spider-Man movie.
Back in real life,
Yeah.
you completely
Yeah.
completely
Because he got hurt doing the stunt. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because
Hungry
think about
Boy.
it too. I mean, they got Hungry
Hungry
Boys
what's
here.
up, buddy? What's up,
But
buddy?
yeah, because I was gonna say, Toby was in really good shape. All the guys are in really good shape for this movie, and I guess who knows what kind of stunts they had him going through. You got to do all those Spidey poses that Ditko came up with. Those great poses, but not so easy for people to do maybe. But yeah, that was pretty funny when they're cracking his back. It was like one of those great inside jokes. It was awesome, but it was
even when
it was a heartfelt
Andrew
moment.
Garfield like catches MJ, and then
Oh, man.
like when he lunged towards her, the audience erupted.
Right.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then when he caught her, and he starts to cry, and people in the audience are like, oh, like
Yeah,
it's one of those things where they're giving closure to moments in the movies that weren't very great. It's like I didn't feel anything when Gwen Stacy died in Amazing
Yeah,
Spider-Man
me
2,
neither.
because
Yeah,
I
me
knew
neither.
it was going to happen because comics.
Yeah.
But they didn't build it up at all in that movie. There's no drama to it. I don't care. And here I care more about what it did to Andrew Garfield. Like I mean, that's the magic of his acting here. And it's a
Good
small
acting, yeah.
moment, but it really means a lot to such a terrible movie.
And I think
Yeah.
part of that's because Zendaya is so good too, because
Yeah.
her MJ, like you said, her acting, and she's extremely talented, very pretty, and she's not the MJ from the comics, which is I kind of like I don't like the multiverse, but I do like it in terms of explaining the way the differences between the the characters. So she's not a supermodel and like in the comics or
Yeah.
but she and Ned is great, great actor in this. So I think that shows the Eternals. There's no excuse now. I was just looking at the box office. So this movie is the #1 movie of the year already, just
Oh,
for
yeah.
the weekend. So if you look at the
3
numbers,
days?
so if you look at the numbers, it's 253. Shang-Chi made 224, and Venom was 212. Blackwood was 183, and Fast 9 rounds out the top 5 at 173, and the
This will
Turtles made
more than all of them put together.
163. Yep. So this is 253 right now, just on this weekend. But and to compare to, this is Box Office Mojo. In 2020, movies made $2 billion. In 2019, before the vid hit or was partly affected, movies made $11 billion. So, part of the importance of this movie too, I think, is will we see that many big blockbusters if money is so diminished, or as people are saying, look how West Side Story failed. So we're only going to see these big tentpole pictures, which is no shock that West Side Story
Yeah, really.
failed. But I think the film buffs and the certain people are they're it's maybe a discussion for another time, but they're saying, well, basically now we're going to get superhero movies or these big movies.
I hate that kind of thinking, because like as soon as something becomes really popular, everyone's like, well, then they're all going to be like that. It's like, well, no, they still make new. I had gone for popcorn. I came back and there was some sort of trailer playing with the moon is like a space station or something, and I turned to Jason. I can't remember what it was called. I turned to Jason. I was like, well, at least that's new. I mean, there is new
Yes.
stuff that happens all the time, right?
Yeah, I saw
It's
that
like,
trailer.
what was the name of that movie? Free Man. That was a blockbuster.
Free Guy.
Yeah, Free Guy. Yeah, and
Free Guy.
that was new. New stuff happens all the time. We shouldn't be afraid of the fact that there are tentpole pictures. They pay for everything, anyways, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then, but there's less leeway, I think, now too, in terms of going forward. We'll see what happens. If this, it's maybe just a quick, streaming versus maybe you'll get those art house type films. Maybe West Side Story should have been, a streaming or pay per view, but at least this proves that you can still have a big blockbuster though, and hopefully, the world's maybe going crazy again, but hopefully, but this shows you too. There's no excuse too. Like they're trying to blame the failure of Turtles on the pandemic, and it shows you a beloved character and I think too, if this movie stunk, you wouldn't have seen the box office continue. The word of mouth is so good for this movie.
Yeah.
So like Guardians of the Galaxy, I didn't expect that to be a good movie. I'm like,
Oh,
and I
God,
went
nobody
midnight
thought,
opening night, but I'm like, then I told everyone, oh, this is a great movie. When I saw Eternals, I'm like, this is horrible. Don't go.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
Well-
So you get that big bump and then it goes down. So let's see how this movie's going to keep going up, I think.
I feel like Hollywood forgets that if a movie looks appealing, then it'll attract a crowd. Like Guardians of the Galaxy made a lot of money off of IP that no one knew about, but those trailers were great and it made
Yeah.
it look fun. And when you watched it, it was the fun that was promised. Done.
Yeah.
That's all you need, right? Eternals, it looked miserable, and when you went to it, it was miserable. There's nothing appealing or charming or fun about that, and you walk away feeling like you've been finger wagged the whole time. It's like, so
Exactly.
yeah.
And
like
they were the bad
Spider-Man-
guys in their own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man, it's like it looked appealing going forward. Sony desperately tried to keep the secret that the Spider-Men were not in it. Even having like poor Andrew Garfield like lie about it on national television, and that he wasn't in a movie, and then of course now word of mouth is going to spread because it is appealing. It is as fun as the trailers promise and more, and yeah, and no surprise going to make money. I don't know. This isn't really rocket science. I don't understand this.
Word of mouth is instantaneous now.
Yeah.
Like the second the credits went up, all the phones lit up.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I
on
saw
fucking
that.
Twitter. Oh, fucking hashtag
It's
Spider-Man.
good.
Oh my
It's
God.
good. It's actually good. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Eternals, the credits ended. It was just like everyone got up and just went to take a piss and then to go home. It's like, like here, it's like they're talking and chatting. People were all wearing their hoodies and Spider-Man shirts and fucking Spider-Man and this part was great. Like it was like buzzing around. Instantaneous phone lights up. Oh, we got to tweet everybody. This is so good. Take it. On the way out the line, you couldn't get out because people were taking snapshots with the poster to be like, I was here first showing Eternals, it was like going to like a death sentence or whatever. Everyone's just walking out.
You're walking out of a funeral.
Out of a funeral, and all going to their cars and going home. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it was so bad. I mean, it totally ignored everything Kirby in the movie too. So there was no tribute to Kirby. There was nothing that looked like Kirby. None of the characters. Maybe you could have, the story of the movie tough to adapt, but yeah, they could have used some elements. Turning the Eternals into robots bent on destroying the Earth, so that the Earth could gestate a Celestial. Hey, that's maybe not the way to
Having
go.
a Celestial give like a 5-minute monologue talking about his plan. Like,
God, it was embarrassing. That was actually
the worst writing.
I couldn't look at the screen. I was
and then
looking
Thanos,
down.
they should have defeated Thanos because he wiped out half the galaxy. Then they needed human beings to give birth to Celestial, which is some hokey, crazy idea. All right, well, it's a comic book, but then they would have fought Thanos too, right?
Yeah, the Eternals are pro-life. The Eternals are pro-life, by the way.
I wonder if any in Celestials were wiped out by Thanos and for the blip. Whatever.
Yeah,
half of them.
Half of them, maybe half of them. So yeah, look, this thing is it's so glorious compared to garbage like that. To people, just like you said, word of mouth is what started the MCU. That was Iron Man, a character that, let's face it, only comic book geeks knew who it was.
Yeah.
And everyone went to see this thing in 2008 and like, well, we of course all went there. We knew who Iron Man was, but a lot of people were like, wow, who is this guy? I don't know, but this movie's really good. And boom, well, we got, what is it, like 15 years of this series, of various movies to varying degrees of quality. This could be, well, if Sony is allowed to, this could be the jump start to something good for the MCU and maybe taking a little bit away from the MCU that we've been experiencing over the past couple of years. I don't know if that's going to happen, but maybe they're going to call it the MSU, the Marvel Sony.
I wonder if they're going to try to take Spider-Man back, then thinking they can get it done on their own. Or I wonder how much creativity, how much was this a Marvel movie, Sony just backing it? Like, who made those decisions? And I guess Feige's still in charge, so Sony was a disaster on their own. So
yeah, I think adding all the Spider-Man characters was a Sony thing. It's in their benefit. And I mean, right. I know the speculation, right? I know the speculation that would come out of this is like, Why not a Spider-Man 4, Tobey Maguire? Why not
That's
a Amazing
already
Spider-Man 3?
trending.
Just
I just saw Amazing Spider-Man 3 in this chat.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder fanboy, who's one of my guys, who's on here already talking Amazing Spider-Man 3 hashtag.
It's like, why wouldn't you just, if this was a sequel to the last like 7 movies, like live action movies, why would you not make the sequels to the movies we wanted, kind of thing? Which has never really been done. But this sort of opens that door. I don't know how chaotic that would be. But
take
our
money,
I mean,
right?
I'd watch all of them. I don't know how I feel about that. Just in terms of sense. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I got you. But at least this, for right now, it's something positive. It's something that people are just getting excited about. It is a highly entertaining film. I cannot wait to. I definitely want to see it again one more time on the big screen, so I can, I don't know about you guys, but I'd kind of like to go see it again one more time and get it, clarify my perspective on it a little bit. Maybe the things that bothered me that we talked about at the outset won't bother me as much now that that's kind of out of the way, and I'll expect it, and I'll have a better time. But I think, again, one of the most remarkable things about the film is what I said earlier, how it's filled with a lot of Spider-Man downerism and still makes you feel good. Because it's brutal. It's dark. It punches you in the gut a lot, and you still have a fun time with it. Hello there, Salvador. Good to see you, my friend. You still walk away, and isn't that quintessential Spider-Man from comics or whatever, where Spider-Man's always tragic? Yep. But if you have a good story, then people enjoy your film. They'll go with it. And that ending was amazing. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Jamie and I have talked about this before. Like when we see, actually, I think this happened when Spider-Man 2 came out. That after that, and J-Man called me. He's like, "I've been digging out my comics." Like, yeah, I've been digging out my comics too. And if a comic movie is good, I'll dig out my old comics and start reading them again.
I'm
digging out my old Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. I bought everything on Comixology, and I'm reading everything. I'm watching the cartoons, reading the comics, and playing the game at the same time.
I'm rewatching the '90s one now. Yeah. So I guess.
Where's your Spider-Man mask?
Well, it's Flash.
Okay, man.
Gary Fisher is Flash. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, bro. He enjoyed the movie. Yeah.
I forgot to get my Spidey mask out of the Halloween box in the attic. Yeah. That was my kid had to light up. The eyes would light up. He'd push the buttons.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I think Sony, because Sony has Spider-Man and they don't really have the others, that they're more like, okay, let's really try to do a bit more quality stuff with Spider-Man now. Maybe they're thinking more about it because it's like MCU's big. This is their time to kind of get Spider-Man right.
How do you explain Venom 2?
Yeah, Venom. Well, you like.
I kind of like
the
stupidness of Venom 2, but I don't like it as a good movie.
It's awful.
Well, you're going to get Venom in the MCU now.
Yeah.
Based on the last trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying as opposed to Marvel, who has all these characters, and they think they're untouchable. They're like, we can just do whatever. They're gonna eat it up because it's Marvel, and too bad. And this is the vision that we have, and you better just follow along with it. And I think maybe that's Marvel's getting like it's like there's no competition for them anymore. DC is out of the picture. Yeah.
But they've killed off though. Sorry to interrupt, but they've killed off Iron Man. So they've killed up Iron Man in the MCU. Hulk has got one arm now, right? So I don't know what's happening with the Hulk.
He has one arm? I don't.
Well, he's from the snap, right? He's still injured from the snap, right?
Yeah.
So can he be still be and I don't think they can do a solo movie because of Universal with the rights there. So I mean, and you Captain America, Marshall Lewis was mentioning too. Like that's the other thing I didn't like was. Why were they putting Cap's shield on covering up Lady Liberty's torch? I guess just for that.
What happened?
We have a great friend here, my good buddy Michael French from Retro Plastic.
Yeah, we're big fans of Michael French. So
he says, I'm really trying to concentrate on this conversation, but I'm completely distracted by the knowledge that J-Man has met Hallie Atwell from the evidence over his shoulder. You lucky... What? Oh, no.
I have not met Haley Atwell. That is Rose McIver she's the Yellow Power Ranger, and she she's from iZombie, which is also I think DC, right? But Haley Atwell, my wife and I are like the super mega fans of Haley Atwell. We absolutely love it. I love Agent Carter. I want to meet her so badly. And it's funny because my wife would be like, "Oh, she's very attractive." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Okay.
I hadn't noticed.
I didn't notice at all.
Was she
I'm
really?
like,
I mean, I love her. I have some problems with the show, but
listen, if she has dialogue, I'm just going to pull a Spock on this one. If Haley Atwell has dialogue, it's 10 out of 10.
It's 10 out of 10.
It's 10. I don't care.
he thought it looks a lot like Holly Atwell. I can't really see it myself, Michael. So I don't know. I can't really tell it which one you're talking about.
No, she did come. Yeah. She came to Toronto, and then my wife and I wanted to go, and something happened, and we just couldn't meet her. But she is fantastic.
Yeah, man, we all love her. I mean, she's beloved. There's the thing that I thought I was disappointed by the 2 seasons of her show, but I watched them because of her. So I just didn't think they were particularly well made. But I'd watch anything with her in it.
There was some fun thing. Yeah, that
but
was.
She had dialogue, right? She was in it. So it's 10 out of 10. She's in it, and she talks. And I'm like, this is. If she doesn't talk, it's 9 out of 10. If it's just visually.
You're such an easy critic, man.
Yeah, so yeah, with the shield on the Statue of Liberty, I didn't like, but Cap is gone now too. So what's Marvel's next? You're gonna have Doctor Strange, and we I guess he's fighting. If you stayed for the trailer at the end of the movie, you saw him. He's fighting the evil Strange, I guess, from What If?
From What If,
I guess
the worst origin story.
Yeah.
That What If episode is almost borderline unwatchable piece of trash.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
I
fixated on a character that no one cared about in that movie. I don't understand. And why do all roads lead to her there, but not in a film that we saw?
I don't know.
Hey, what happened in that? Do you guys remember? Like, okay, so Doctor Strange, I don't get that character. That wasn't a real What If, right? We discussed this, Sean and I.
No, it was MCU What If.
Yeah, no. But
he's trying to bring her back to life, so he's casting all these spells. So he turns into an evil version. He's destroying.
No, she's in the movie. She's in the movie, but his love of her to the level they show in What If isn't shown in the movie.
Not at all.
Yeah. They go in the car. Like, she wasn't there, right? Like, I'm so confused.
She wasn't in the car. No, I don't remember her in the car.
Yeah, no,
she was not in the car.
No, she wasn't. She in the car in the What If?
This is the What If. It's the What If.
It's because bad.
What if she's in the car? Is that
right?
What
if she's always in the car and he can't avoid it for some reason in What If, but he can in the movie effortlessly to the point where she was in the film.
That episode. That's probably still the second stupidest episode after that horrible Star-Lord T'Challa episode.
That's the worst thing ever.
That's the worst thing
I thought the Marvel zombies were the worst. But
worse than the Star-Lord one? No, come on, man.
I thought the zombies, Spider-Man's telling jokes is like people are getting eaten around him. It's like, come on.
I didn't watch that.
I mean, at least the other ones they were going, I could see where they're going. It was going for a Dark Strange, and if it's just a one-off,
I didn't even watch that one.
Yeah, the zombie one was horrible.
They're all bad, but no, Star-Lord T'Challa was the worst thing put on television.
Agreed.
Ever. It's going back to the dawn of television.
It's a good thing
the last few were better because they had him fighting. The Watcher was fighting, and
I'll take your
Ultron.
word for it.
That if we got and what ifs, I kind of always just write off. It's a what if, right? If you like it or you don't like it, there've been some fantastic what if comics.
What if we hired writers?
Yeah. So. But I mean, really, going forward, what does the Marvel Universe have? I guess they're going to bring in Daredevil now, maybe in the Kingpin, and
but as a movie or as a show.
So what's going to be their big draw right after the Strange movie?
Well, they have FF and they have X-Men in their pocket that they haven't really done anything with, and yes, be nervous because
trash.
The way they're thinking now with stuff like Eternals, you have no clue what they're going to do with these properties.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I do know what they're going to do. Actually,
you're going to get in trouble for saying it.
I'm not going to say it, but I've said it.
So don't say it then, because we know what we know.
But without saying that, I'll just tell you that they're DOA to me anyway. That's like I've had a number of people knowing how I feel about the Fantastic Four say, "Oh, I bet you're really going to be pissed with it." No, not really, because I already know what they're going to do. Nothing. I said, in fact, because I know they're horrible and they don't know what to do with it. I hope it's even. I hope it's even worse than I expect.
Worse than Fan Four Stick?
Trash ever. I hope it is so bad. I just get to laugh at these scumbags because let's just say there's no way they're going to make it to please me. I just got to be honest with you. You can't make an FF movie to please me anyway. You can make one and I'll go, that was kind of okay here and there. So just go ahead and make it filthy trash so I can laugh at it, because that's all you can do. Unless you're letting me run a Fantastic Four movie, it will not be right. There's only one person in the universe capable of making a Fantastic Four movie, and I've never even made a movie, and that's me. So other than that, screw them.
What are you, Dr. Doom?
Yes.
You're in charge.
I'm Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, I think they're incapable of actually trying to produce a good quality Fantastic Four movie or X-Men, really. I don't really think any of the X-Men movies were really anything.
No.
They kind of missed the whole point of X-Men for me from almost all of them. I don't know what the future is, because there's too many things that people are not that excited for. Like Iron Man's replacement, is that going to? I would have thought it'd be War Machine, but if there's rumblings of Riri Williams, who is not a very popular character even in comics, what is she going to do? I don't know. Like Captain America's Falcon now. Now there's is there a Falcon? No, the other.
No, he's Captain America now.
It's Captain America.
But there's
now.
another guy who's Falcon now, right?
No,
the guy
no,
the
no Falcon.
I don't remember that.
There's
yeah,
no
the guy
Falcon.
got the wings. That Latino guy got the wings. What are you talking about?
It might happen, but it hasn't
They
happened
never
yet.
showed him have it though. Like where?
Yet.
Maybe he didn't wear them, no, but he definitely has them.
Not yet. Yeah, it'll probably happen. Now, Retroblasting says, also, can we please get Sean in front of Paramount and pitch a series called Tomahawk about the life of the Romulan leader before the events of TNG? Good Lord, he looks like a young Andreas Castillo.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not realize that. Well, man, you look like Jakar and Tomahawk.
Good thing I
And
didn't
the one
shave
on
my
hand.
head today, which I was going to do. But
You
yeah.
did that, you got your beard. Have you guys seen Sean with the beard?
No, Sean, you have a beard?
Oh my god!
I used to have a giant beard. It was grown during the COVID lockdown because I didn't have to go to work anymore. So
And you
I
scared
was
my
like
wife.
here. So yeah.
Yeah, you scared my wife. I was doing a stream and she walked by and said,
I
"Oh
grew
my
hair
god,
really
who's that?"
quickly, so it really grew out. But yeah.
She's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "It's Sean for Christ's sake." She's like, "No, it's not." What do you
Yeah.
know? It's not. It's like
When I
it's
think-
Sean.
When I think Andreas Katsoulis, to be honest, I always forget what he really looks like. I think of Jakar from Babylon 5. Not even Tomahawk so much. I mean, I think about him, but I think of Jakar. That's what he looks like to me.
Well, thank you, Michael French.
Thank you, Michael. Oh,
Yeah, and are we gonna ever get Captain America back? I guess he's
No.
lost to time now, and
No, he's-
what are we
We'll
gonna
just have 2 dump trucks of money come Chris
Yeah,
Evans.
never.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We've just been proven with this movie, which we've all liked, is our only shot for anything halfway decent of a superhero movie, because Sony at least seems right now have some sanity and wants to make movies to make money, and they've just learned that they've just cracked that amazing mystery puzzle that everyone else knew but them and Disney, that if you give fans what they want, they will go to see your movie, and in 3 days it'll make almost $500 million, which about it's almost made worldwide. Yeah, you learned. Sony's learned that, so we might have a chance for some more decent movies down the road. Don't get your hopes up, but they still won't come from the fully controlled Disney side of it. It'll have to be Sony probably, because the rest. Yeah, I do remember the one-armed man, Michael. I do remember what he looks like, but for the most part, I always think of Jakar. But yes, I do like that.
let me do a side by side. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I got you up on my other monitor. Yep.
Oh my God.
Wow, there you go.
You guys
So,
related? Yeah.
Any good stuff will come from. It will be Sony, at least right now, dragging Disney kicking and screaming, and don't look for a lot of it.
I think Disney they look tired right now. They look like they're out of ideas. They look like they're trying too hard and thinking too much about this stuff rather than going with the characters. I remember in an interview when DC wanted to do their own film universe, and Kevin Feige said, just go with the character, just go with the personality of the character. Like that's what you build everything around. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that anymore. Just seems like they're overthinking things and going with just high concept, sort of like, virtual signaling and stuff like that, rather than just go with the character, and it just like, and this is what this Spider-Man movie did with Spider-Man times 3. So, but they didn't do that with Eternals.
But Marvel's a shame.
They
They're
had to
ashamed
go
of
their
their
own route with
characters.
Shang-Chi. Black Widow,
Oh no.
Oh,
We lose
they broke
Sean?
up. That happens.
He was going to say how he loved Black Widow. Black Widow was a 10 out of 10.
Oh
Just
my
kidding,
God.
Sean.
No,
I didn't. But I like Black Widow, but I think we all agreed that it should have been 5 years ago or
Years
whatever.
ago.
Sorry, Sean, you cut
Finish
out
your
there.
thought there, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut out there. But yeah, the Marvel's ashamed of their characters. That's the thing. They've got this. And even in the comics as well. They don't want to do anything with them. They're just like, oh, we have to get this other character, or change the gender or something, or do something else. It's like
my pet peeve with the Marvel movies too. I can't remember which movie it was when they switched from showing the comic characters in the opening flip to now showing movie characters.
Yes.
Like now saying that Marvel really is just these movie guys, not the comics.
I wish people were buying comics. You wish comics were selling like crazy, and we had really awesome comics again. But that's the travesty too. You can always go back and reread the comics, or if you're FF fan, go grab the first 102 issues of FF, and online, or there's all ways you can great ways you can get it now. Even though the originals are too expensive to buy now, but all kinds of trade paperbacks. So you have all those great stories, but it's a shame that they didn't have the same characters in the comics. So when kids are going to the store and they'd want to, where's Tony Stark Iron Man, and it's Riri Williams, as Iron Man, instead of having two different series, or so they kind of Thor was off, disgraced on his own, and I did like those that run that. But then, but if you're a kid coming to the store, you're like, why is Jane Foster Thor now?
Well, they're doing it right now. Doctor Strange has got a movie coming out. He was just in one of the biggest movies ever, and he's in the comics. He's dead. He's killing him.
They're killing him. Yeah.
Would make Clea the Sorceress Supreme, or was it Clea or whatever they're doing it with?
The death of Doctor Strange.
I can't remember if it's Enchantress or
it's somebody. It's not. It's a chick, and of course, it's not. It's not Stephen Strange. They've done this so many times.
Yeah,
when they've had a movie out there, and yet in their own stupid garbage comics, that character is dead. Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, or whomever.
My favorite was when the first X-Men movie came out. It was a big hit, and then in the comics, the roster was like Maggot and like Blake, people that you've never heard of.
Who are these people?
Yeah,
right.
My comic shop.
Time for J. Jonah Jameson rant. Give me some good comics.
I need to get some of my toys. Okay.
Marvel Comics is a menace. I hated what they did with him in the movie.
I didn't know he had the superpowers feature where he's just finger wagging.
Yeah, you think he worked for Disney?
Great.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I gotta get that now.
Marker.
Yeah,
he comes with a desk too. Yeah, so you gotta have the Jameson desk.
Yes.
Does he have a phone he can slam in the
he does. Yeah, see all the
phone right there.
They're all attached to the desk. They're kind of loose, so you can slam. Shake him around, slam him around. You can bang him around.
Yes, good.
Oh, well, lads, I tell you what, I'm going to give closing comments on the film. They're on the table. Take your time, of course. J-Man, your closing thoughts, anything you want to say about Spider-Man No Way Home?
I'm definitely going to see it again, just to see it on the big screen, which I haven't seen a Marvel movie twice in the theater for a long time, actually.
And then give it a rating, by the way.
I'm gonna be the
Go for it.
and you know what,
But say what you want to say first. I just want to put that out there. Go ahead.
I'm going to see it again. I really enjoyed it a lot. Maybe because I was expecting it to be so awful, and then I liked it so much. Sometimes I feel that if I go in too hyped and then I get disappointed, and then but recently I've been always thinking this probably won't be that good, and then it hasn't been that good, like Eternals and Black Widow. But this one, I went in really low. I thought, you know what, this is probably going to be awful. You
sound like you're quoting MJ.
Yeah,
exactly. That was good.
Anytime, time travel is wonky. Multiverses are wonky. What else? Magic is wonky. I had all these weird things that's this is going to be a giant mess. Sean knows this. We bitched about it for months leading up to this movie.
Yeah.
And then we went to go see it. I'm like, and I was turning to him, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm like, this isn't a super mess. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm like, okay. I'm like, wow. And then I came out and I was so happy. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go emotional. Normally I'm going to critique it and bring everybody down, but I went up. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, man. I really liked it a lot. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I just like seeing him do the stuff. be him, and all of those three guys together having a great time and fighting the villains. And yeah, there's some dark parts, but it still managed to have superhero stuff in it. He still saved people. He fought the villains. He kind of saves the day, but it's bad for him, but that is a Spider-Man thing. I don't know. Zack Snyder watched this movie. This is what you should have done. If you want to do a darker Superman, this is, we still got Spider-Man. End of the day, yeah, the spell was weird, whatever. We had Spider-Man stuff that was cool and fun and entertaining. Sony listened to us. It fixed a lot of the problems from the other movies that sucked. At the very end, yes, we finally got the real Spider-Man. I want the next movie to be Scorpion. I want Jameson to hire the guy that they had in the other movie to be Scorpion, because Jameson has green in his background. I thought, he'll make a green Scorpion. So that's what I want for the next movie. The next movie, we're in a good spot now, because after every other Spider-Man movie, we're always like, another Spider-Man movie. Well, we'll watch it because we have to. But now the next Spider-Man movie, we're going to want to watch it. It's not going to be something we have to watch because you're going to stream about it, or I have to review it, or Sean has to talk about it. We're going to watch it because we want to watch it. And to me, that is very valuable. So there you go. 9 out of 10.
Excellent. Sean, your closing thoughts on the film, good, bad, anything you want to say about it, feel free, take your time, and then just give me a rating at the end, man.
Yeah, look, this movie, I'm still in shock and awe as to how enjoyable it is, and how measured and succinct and comprehensible it is. And just all the villains that I really hated in the movies that they were in were really plussed in this movie. They were treated very well. This movie made me want to go back and watch the Andrew Garfield movie. So that's a pretty high grade. I want to go revisit Amazing Spider-Man 2 again. I haven't seen it since the theater. I own it, but I feel like I'll probably have more fun with it this time. Maybe not. I don't know, but it makes me want to revisit that, and that's pretty good. If a film makes you want to go back and watch a terrible movie and revisit some of the characters that were in this film, I think that's pretty good. It does its job. And I would give this movie 8.5 out of 10. I think this is one of the top 3 live action Spider-Man movies right now for me. So, yep.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Mark, do you want to say anything? Any closing comments you had? Good, bad, indifferent, and give us a rating, brother.
Well, thank you. Great being with J-Man and Sean, and you guys always give great reviews, and you're always interesting. Of course, Clobberin times as well. But this movie delivered the goods, right? So we were all kind of wary going into it because the last few movies from Marvel haven't been good, and the beginning was kind of a little bit uneven at some points, and of course the spell is wonky, which we talked about. But in the end, it was a fun movie. They didn't screw up the cameos because they weren't cameos. You actually had the actors and characters in the movie. They had some development. They had some lines that were reused, that or not reused, plot points that they picked up on, and especially with the Gwen Stacy death and Garfield's version of Spider-Man saving MJ. So they all had nice character moments that were developed in the film. You had lines that jokes that carried through through the movie. Ned was fun, getting the ring and be able to cast some magic spells. So you had some great character moments, and the characters were fleshed out. They weren't just cardboard cutouts. So that I really appreciated, and really I'm gonna go see it again. Even Mrs. D wants to go see this, so she's not a big genre comic book fan. She puts up with all my junk and my stuff, as we say. But you were happy leaving the theater despite how tragic losing May Parker in the movie. But that great character reset in the end, when the end of the movie, you get to see that blue and red. You get to see this Spidey finally on the screen.
Oh, man.
Someone clipped it. I don't know if the video is going to stay up on YouTube, but there's like a 30-second clip. I'll post in the private chat where someone obviously used a camera where they weren't supposed to, but it's just glorious watching that blue and red suit again. To go through the screen, and Spider-Man's back to the way it should be. Not no longer the Iron Spider, but we've gone full circle, and he's back to the good old Mego days, or the
Yes.
Spider-Man 67. So we've gone back to that, and that just put a huge smile on my face at the end of the movie, which is how you end a movie. Like, if you remember that the first Batman movie, where they end Batman, where he's looking out at the bat signal and the American flag is out there, and you end on like a great patriotic note. So we're gonna get this Spidey in the next movie, so I can't wait to see that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, hopefully, and they're not gonna screw it up. So looking forward to that. But yeah, great job, and everyone go see the movie. There's some little things that we can geek out and nitpick at, but at the end of the day, it was fun, and it delivered the goods. So two thumbs up. What do you
rating?
Rating. I'm gonna stick with my 8 out of 10, which I gave it initially, but maybe I'll go to an 8.5. We'll give it another go up a half a point. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. My buddy Retro Blasting, Michael, you killing me, dude. He says, I remember the time Revenge of the Ninja inspired me to go back and watch Enter the Ninja. Nope, it was still terrible.
I know what you don't like about Enter, but that's a whole other conversation.
Revenge of the Ninja is the first movie I ever recorded on VHS with my first VHS player.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Ninja 3, and then American Ninja, and then I've seen those movies 4,000 times each. I know the dialogue. Right?
Well, Michael did you did a panel on Ninja from the 80s ninjas, didn't he?
I've seen every video that Retro Blasting has ever done.
Right.
Like literally.
Yes.
Like literally every video.
Like a Dragon Con thing, right?
Every Dragon Con thing.
Yeah.
I've seen every video that you guys have done.
I think I was there for at that Dragon Con for that.
Go back and watch that. Could we see you?
Oh no, he wouldn't put the.
There's no crowd shot. No,
he wouldn't. He wouldn't let me be on camera with them, embarrass him like that. I was
Don't say that, Clobberin times.
And by the way, Retro Blasting and I did. We did back in the summer at some point. I think we did. We reviewed all. We did not review. We ranked all of the MCU films up to that point, which was before Black Widow, and we had a great show that night, and that was a lot of fun. We ranked them, and of course, Michael, if you ever do see this one, I would be interested in talking to you about it. If you ever, whenever you get a chance to see this one, I want to know your thoughts on Spider-Man: No Way Home. My basic breakdown is this. Again, like I said, I had a lot of initial problems coming out of the box in terms of anytime your story is dependent upon the characters doing really unbelievably stupid things, it kind of really, really loses some favor with me. And that I have to, some of the stuff that we talked about early on with the outset with the spelling stuff really aggravate me. But it redeemed itself by being extraordinarily entertaining, a lot of fun, and giving us the Spider-Man that Tom Holland didn't get a chance to be because of the other movies and the way it set him up at the end. It's thoroughly entertaining. It does. I mean, the think test can kill it in some ways if you let that stuff go. And it also makes me happy to see this phenomenon about the film, how many people are excited about it and loving it. And that goes a long way with me too, because again, whether you like the film or not, at least you could like it or dislike it based on its content and not all that other crap they keep sticking in these movies. Will there be anything great going forward? I don't know, but this is thoroughly entertaining. As someone who loves Spidey, there's a lot of great Spidey to love. They got all the nostalgia stuff for the people who are more nostalgic about the films. It is highly entertaining, and I do plan to go see it again. I would and see if I even have a different reaction, which I think usually when I do that, it's an uptick, and I like something better usually. So I definitely stick with my 8 out of 10 review of it. And for me to give anything, a modern film, that high a rating, it means sure I knocked it. I beat it up a little bit, but overall, really enjoyed it much more than I thought that I would. And Michael said, let's see here. What is that? Oh, dude, loved finally doing that. Yeah, Pride of the X-Men. Oh, that was fantastic, man. The Pride of the X-Men video was a lot of fun, buddy. Janet from Another Planet is here. Hello, Janet. It is lovely to see you, my dear. Hello there, Brendan K.
Oh, hey, Brendan. Hey, how's it going? He was on our Ghostbusters.
Hey, Brendan. Yes,
that's right. Hey, Brendan. Good to see you, my friend. So basically, unless anyone has any final anything, we pretty much all recapped the film. Anything else to add? I will do some show notes and get us out of here. Just under the.
I thought of one quick thing. Who did we see in the? I saw Craven. That's the only character I could point out.
Craven, Rhino, and I
Rhino,
think
yes.
Silver, like Black Cat or something like that, or Silver Sable or someone.
Yeah, I couldn't tell who that was, and I just remember that was the one thing we didn't mention.
That's a Blu-ray pause thing.
I need to pause it.
Yeah.
I'm positive Craven.
yes.
That was Craven. We had the spear, and he had kind of the mane.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that Rhino looked like the comic book Rhino.
That's why I didn't think that
they
was
know they
Rhino.
screwed that up, you know. So
Yeah, a lot of touches like that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say my son was like, "Dad, you see all the characters?" I'm like, "No, I was looking at the middle of the screen." So then it's like,
Oh, you
look,
never
like,
do that.
yeah, never do. If you look at the edges, because there's like, you know, because I would know all the characters. Like I always tell the story. My brother-in-law was yelling at me, arguing with me at the end of Avengers. He's like, "That was the Red Skull at the end of the Avengers," and he's like, "No, I'm like, that was Thanos." He's like, "No, it was Red Skull." And finally, I'm like, who, you know. Who's gonna know comic books? Who has more comic books in their house? He's like, oh, I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it was Thanos. But who's Thanos? You know?
He didn't know Thanos wasn't at that time. Definitely not. So again, this thing is it's filled with a lot of fun. I like how some people try to criticize something for sort of being nostalgic or what's the term fan service they use now? Well, you know what? If you don't like fan service, that's fine and everything. Let's look what this fan service is doing right now, and it just simply means they're giving. Imagine that they're giving people what they want to see, not just casual. I mean, not just hardcore fans, but casual fans or movie fans. And I'm just kind of delighted to see it doing very well, and that's kind of a big takeaway for me. But if there's a scene, and again, I'll cheat and do one more question. If there's a scene that sticks out to you the most, one scene in it that makes you the happiest about this film, and we don't have to do it quick. You don't have to do it quickly if you don't want to. For me, it was that last bit. That's just 2 seconds of him swinging on that costume. Right. Did any of you have anything like that, or is that the one for you?
That's the one. Sean and I were like freaking high-fiving in the theater. We're like, yeah, it's the real Spider-Man.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it took like 8 movies, but sure.
This was like his road to becoming the real Spider-Man.
Yes.
It was like an origin story. And the Andrew Garfield, saving MJ scene too. Great. I thought that was probably, the best, heartfelt, of course. And then, it's everyone was, upset in the theater when Aunt May died, but that was such a downer, but that was an uplifting, emotional scene. And of course you knocked out of the park with that red and blue, original costume. So yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What did you guys think about the trailer at the end and the Venom? I mean, I guess maybe we should.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Let's talk about. I totally forgot that stuff. So you guys, that's why he's the chief engineer here, folks. The actor credit stuff. Mention that for a second, if you would like to, J-Man and Sean, if you have any views on that.
I mean, Venom. I hated that first movie. The second movie, the first 33 minutes of Venom Carnage is unbearable to me. The Carnage fights are okay. Like Carnage looks cool when he fights. The rest of it's like an awful movie. I don't want. Venom has been completely ruined in the MCU. It's awful. He has no relation to Spider-Man. If there's one villain that for sure needs to be related to Spider-Man, it's Venom. Right? It's like they do this all the time in movies. They made Joker related to Batman in Tim Burton. And I'm thinking that's wrong. But like the one time where you're like, finally, they're gonna link the hero and have it be a personal thing, and they didn't do it with Venom. It's awful. And I like Tom Hardy, but him fighting with Venom, this ain't the Marx Brothers. This ain't Abbott and Costello. This ain't Laurel and Hardy. Who do you guys think you're? This is not funny. It's excruciatingly awful. It's like it's literally 33 minutes because I was checking the time. I'm like, when is this?
I never watched it, but yeah.
I never saw it.
Oh, just skip to 33 minutes when Carnage becomes Carnage and then fights in the prison. That is sick. Like, it's like Carnage is destroying people. And I think Shriek was in it. Okay, sure, that's Shriek. She's there. It's like, I don't know. So I'm not excited about him being with Tom Holland because I don't know how's that going to play.
It could be a totally new character. Maybe it'll be a totally new. Maybe they'll follow maybe they'll do the story from Spider-Man 298 up.
What I want them to do is Spider-Man 298 up. I don't think they're going to because I think they're going to feel like audiences have seen all this before, so they'll do something new, right?
But if it was going to work, they should do that though. They've got to have, it's like, why does Venom look like Spider-Man, right? Because he hates, and that initial run was so great. I mean, I love that initial run. Venom's been over venomed. I'm not sure what the right word is, but
Venom's been
that first initial arc I loved, and that's when I got my subscription, online, through the mail for Spider-Man, right at that time from $2.98 up. So it was a good time to get into it. But and I thought so, but they've got the opportunity though, because I'm sure everyone stayed for those after credit scenes, but so there's a little blip of Venom goo left, even though technically shouldn't that goo have gone back to the other universe if it was from? Don't ask those questions. So that's how they're going to get. Maybe they'll do Eddie Brock the right way now. We'll see if that happens. And the Doctor Strange, we didn't get that was a Doctor Strange trailer. So, and of course we finally get Wanda admitting she did some horrible things.
I'm going to go off the screen when I say this. Look, I hated Loki. I hated What If. I hated Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, they were terrible.
I really loved WandaVision. Okay, I have to go. See you guys.
Please join us next week for the exciting episode. Let's make fun of J-Man for liking WandaVision.
I watched it twice. Man. I loved it. I don't know. I have to hide. I loved WandaVision. So just seeing her.
If you liked it, stick with it and admit it. Yep.
No, I loved it. Not
all right, you loved it. Okay, loved it. Yep. All right.
I loved it. I don't know. Look, I hated Loki. I hated What If. I hated. I'm buying credits back. Come back.
There you go.
I hated Loki. Hated What If.
There you go. That was pretty bad.
Are you, J-Man? Are you really excited for Doctor Strange 2 from that trailer?
I'm excited because of dumb reasons. Sam Raimi, Wanda. I still like Benedict Cumberbatch. That's why I'm excited. I'm not excited because of the footage I saw.
Do you think they're going to have a multiverse? Do you think they're going to have a multiverse then? They're going to pull in the multiverse, I guess?
You're not alone, J-Man.
Janet, do you guys think that'll happen and they'll have like this multiverse coming into the MCU and this Doctor Strange movie? Or who's going to be the villain? It's going to be Doctor Strange from the What If universe? I mean, that's...
I hated that so much. I wish that wasn't the villain, man. I really hated that What If episode.
I hated it. Yeah, I hated all of it. So I'm here with you, man. But hey, Janet agrees with you there.
Yay.
And, yes, indeed. And by the way, everyone, if you have not already, please go to J-Man's channel and subscribe. He has a great channel. I'm very jealous of that scale you guys use, the different reviewing stuff. I love that show you guys do when you all do the ratings and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? When you do
the tier ranking.
It's a lot of fun. Look at the tier. There you go. Great stuff. So if you have not already, please go to J-Man's channel and subscribe. And of course, also Mark D with a C's channel. Tonight he will be on
Thank you.
11 Eastern, right? 10 p.m. Central. 11
Yep, with
Eastern.
you. Yep. If you guys just want to keep going through to midnight. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we can just keep going to that. No, we'll get like a couple hour break between that if we play it right. So, so that will be Sunday Night Geekery on his channel. Please go and subscribe. What you got coming up, J-Man?
Well, we're going to be doing a versus thing. We're going to keep the tier ranking, so that's where we take something like, let's say, like that Superman villains, and then we're going to rank all the Superman villains. And there's like 5 different levels of ranking them. That's a monthly thing. And then a weekly thing, we're going to be doing updates. So that's usually Thursdays. And that won't interfere with your Thursday, your Global Geek Gang stuff. That's all like later on in the day. So around 7 p.m. Eastern. And we started a new segment called Versus. So we just did Batman 89 versus Batman Begins, where we go through the story, the pacing, the artistry, the characters, the enjoyment. And we kind of rank the movies against each other, and we kind of pick a winner at the end. So we did Batman versus Batman Begins. We're going to do Alien 1 versus Aliens. That'll be the next one. And I want to do that as a weekly thing as well. But yeah, that's it.
Excellent, man. Great stuff. Anyone, please, if you have not, I'm sure all of our buddies have been out there, but if you haven't, please go sub to that. And Mark D with a C, tell us what's going on with your buddy. Plug anything you have to plug.
Thank you. Yep, thank you for having me on. Yep, we'll be on tonight, Sunday Night Geekery at 11, like Clobberin Time said. So we'll probably talk a little bit Spidey and wherever the chat chat takes us. You know, one time we started talking about Saturday morning cartoons and commercials, and So wherever we end up, I'm going to do a video review of. You can maybe see the original. Well, that's the Diamond Select Enterprise bridge, and I have the original Mego bridge. I'm going to maybe do a quick, a nice video on that, comparing the two and talking about those. And hopefully Santa's going to bring me that Playmobil Enterprise. I can't say, but I'm hopefully I'll get that big Playmobil.
I've been sworn to secrecy. Sorry, man.
He was sworn to secrecy, Santa. Yeah. So I got to see if that shows up. But rumor has it was on sale recently, so it was more affordable for Santa, I think. So we'll see if. But I'm itching to get, hopefully get that and do a big video on that Playmobil ship, which looks really cool. So yeah, as I know, if Retroblasting's still watching, I know. HasLab, where some of us aren't a big fan of what they're doing with HasLab, so it was nice to see that Playmobil doing that big, huge Enterprise ship and actually putting it out to retail without doing crowdfunding. So that was that was nice. That was in a big, huge box. How did they get all that shelf space? I don't know, but that was that was nice to see, and it looks really cool and a lot of fun to play with. So looking forward.
Mark, you said HasLab. This is a great. Everything was going great.
Everything's going well, and then you said HasLab.
You had to throw the H word in there. Now everyone's all upset.
Wait, you have a lot of rank. You have a lot of rancor about mentioning HasLab.
Visual and Rancor, yeah.
Yeah, Rancor's done. Yeah. No moment of silence for the.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a topic for another day.
Well, everyone, one quick shout out. Tomorrow night, the great Stone Loki will be joining me for Monday night Mark C Comics Talk, and we will do our monthly superhero animation review. This time it will be Christmas stuff, and it'll be the Christmas with the Joker from Batman the Animated Series, Invasion of the Secret Santas from Batman Brave and the Bold, Comfort and Joy from Justice League, and Party Animal from Justice League Action. So we will just and maybe I may talk about a few comics and everything as well that are superhero related, again with my great guest, these amazing Stone Loki, my good buddy who made this intro outro for me, and it's a great pal. Tuesday night, Loki's Comics Roundtable returns for a big Christmas celebration. And as far as the Global Geek Gang Christmas celebration, it's up in the air. It's either going to be Wednesday or Tuesday. Tuesday. Listen to me, Wednesday or Thursday. And hopefully Claudia's Clubhouse will be one of those nights as well. I'm just not sure yet. I'm waiting for confirmation on family stuff before I can figure out any of that. But I want to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. And I really do appreciate you all. And thank you, J-Man. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Mark. You guys have been fantastic. And I'm glad you all enjoyed the film. And good night, everyone. And again, Merry Christmas, Clobberers. Clobber
Merry
on.
Christmas.